Hi, my name's Simon from writtenlegalenglish.com and welcome to another video where we're going to be looking at a plain English redraft. In this video we are going to be redrafting a contract provision focusing on you, and the reason why I'm focusing on you is because this is exactly what Professor Kimball said in his recent Michigan Bar Journal article, where he says this: you would work a sea change. In other words, you would make a huge difference if you started addressing the reader as you in regulations. More than any other single technique, using you pulls users into your document and makes it relevant to them. Now, I'm going to be leaving a link to the article and to my video where I looked at this so you can investigate that article in more detail. But clearly mentioning you in regulations, in terms and conditions, makes it that much easier to read, that much easier to understand what your obligations are as regards the contract and how you are affected by that contract. So let's go to work. Okay, so this is the contract provision that I found that we are going to redraft. So let's quickly read through this. Reporting deficiencies in the vehicle's equipment should be performed by calling the hotline. In the event when such deficiencies do not affect road traffic safety, the user may decide on to whether to continue the rental or withdraw from it. The decision to withdraw from the rental agreement must be made within 3 minutes from the moment of opening the vehicle and before starting the car by pressing the start-stop button or turning the key. In such a situation, any fees charged will be returned. After 3 minutes, the right of withdrawal referred to above shall not apply. Now, I've copied this. As you can see, I've taken it from the website, so any mistakes in the language is what you would see from the PDF terms and conditions. So let's go through a few of the plain English problems. Firstly, there's only one mention of you, and that is in the defined term user. So you are the user, and even though it refers to user once, user still is quite an abstract term. It doesn't have that same connection as you. So if I said you must do this, you must do that, then it's easy to understand. But if I say the user must or the user has to, then there still is that abstract, that distance. So using you instead of user would be good. And of course, using you many more times than just once is what we're going to do in our redraft. But other problems with this are the use of passive forms. And by using you, this deals with that problem quite well, because using you, we have to use the active voice. You can do this, you can't do that, and so on. And there are a number of confusing terms that we'll also be looking at. So what are deficiencies? I guess this is damage, but what kind of damage? Is it visual damage? Is it mechanical damage? I mean, what else could a deficiency be? So we've got a confusing term there. We've got this strange structure to perform reporting that we can see in the first sentence. Reporting deficiencies in the vehicle's equipment should be performed by calling the hotline. Strange language which could be simplified. And the use of and let me just highlight that now. I'll just get my pen tool out. So we've got this and here. The decision to withdraw from the rental agreement must be made within 3 minutes from the moment of opening the vehicle and before starting the car by pressing the start-stop button or turning the key. Surely this should be or. What do you think? So, bearing all of those things in mind, let's have a go at redrafting this. Okay, so bearing in mind that this is my redraft, this is how I interpret the text. I'm not saying that my redraft is correct. This is just an exercise of how we could redraft this. And if you disagree with anything that I say, or you would redraft it differently, then please leave a comment below and I will get back to you. I'm certainly interested to know how else you would redraft this. So, my redraft. The first point I would say is this: if you see any damage to the vehicle, please call the hotline. Really, really simple sentence. It directs you as to what to do. If you see any damage, so I'm assuming deficiencies means damage, and any would refer to whether it's minor or major, whether it's cosmetic, whether it's mechanical, whatever it might be. So I think this sentence is a lot clearer and a lot easier to understand. The second sentence would be, If the damage does not affect road traffic safety, you may decide to continue to rent the vehicle or to withdraw from the rental agreement. So here, this is a very clear emphasis on you, whether you want to accept the condition of the car, in which case you can drive, or not, in which case you can withdraw from the agreement and presumably no fees would be charged. And then we've got this last phrase, or this last point, which I've broken down. And I've tried to make it as clear as possible, and I'm pretty sure that we might be able to work this to make it a little bit clearer still. But let's just go through my suggestion here. You have 3 minutes from opening the door of the vehicle to decide to withdraw from the rental agreement, and we will return any fees you paid. So I'm mentioning two people here. You, as regards the time that you have to withdraw from the rental agreement, and we, as the company who will pay you back if you withdraw from the agreement. However, so we've got a clear contrast linker now, which is going to set out the exceptions. However, you may not withdraw from the rental agreement, and fees will apply if you, 1, at any time either press the stop-start button or turn the key to start the vehicle. So I've used or here, and I've created two conditions that would in effect make it impossible to withdraw from the contract. Or point 2, open the vehicle and wait longer than 3 minutes before calling the hotline. And what I've tried to do here is try to make it as clear as possible that from the moment you open up the door, you have those 3 minutes to call the hotline. And if you don't call the hotline within those 3 minutes, even if you haven't pressed the stop button or turned the key, then you can't withdraw from the contract. What do you think? Could we make this any clearer? Is there a different way to understand this or to interpret this? Let me know in the comments below. So what we've done here is clearly communicate to you what your obligations are. And we've mentioned you many times. We've managed to remove almost all of the passive, if not all of the passive, and use the active voice and use strong verbs to communicate your obligations. And I hope that we've managed to remove the ambiguity that was caused by the original text. But there still is one thing I just want to point out. And that is, you've got to be aware of how your website works together. And what I mean by that is that these are from the terms and conditions, but websites also have facts pages. So FAQs, this is where you go if you've got commonly asked questions. And you've got to make sure that the information in the facts refers directly and accurately to the information in terms and conditions. And on this particular website, I don't think it does. So let's have a quick look at. Let me just click on the page and then we can go. So above you can see the piece from the terms and conditions, and below I've directly copied and pasted from the website, from the facts, the bits which connect the facts to the terms and conditions. So you can see that there are two elements or two pieces of the facts, and that these actually on the website are far away from each other. They're not close to each other. So the first one is this: using the car, what should I do before I start driving? You have 3 minutes free of charge to prepare to driving. Once again, directly copied from the website. To prepare to driving, before you get into the car, carefully check the appearance of the car. If you notice any damage, report it by calling the helpline. For me, there's quite a lot of separation between you've got 3 minutes free of charge to prepare to driving and the information about calling the helpline. And it's not entirely clear that you've got 3 minutes to call the helpline to report damage. You've got 3 minutes to prepare to drive, whatever that might mean. So here this is a mixed message, and it's very, very easy to misinterpret. When we get to the bit about actual damage, which is under responsibility, what happens when I notice that the car is damaged, it says, for your own safety, carefully check the appearance of the car before the use. If you will notice any damage, please contact out helpline. Once again, I've copied directly from the website, so any mistakes are those that you'll see on the website. Here, there's no mention at all of 3 minutes. So you can just imagine the situation that someone reads the facts but doesn't read the terms and conditions, and phones up the company and says, there's a problem with the car, there's some damage, and the company says, well, you didn't call us within 3 minutes, and then the person would go, well, it's not written on the website. And then you can see where this argument goes. So if you have a website, then you've got to make sure that all of the elements of that website work together. So the terms and conditions agree with the facts. Okay, with all of that being said, I strongly recommend that when you're writing to clients or writing terms and conditions or regulations of any kind, to use you, because it makes the writing a lot easier to understand. Okay, with that being said, I look forward to seeing you all again in my next video, and make sure that you use my website and the free legal English exercises on my website to help improve your legal English writing. Okay, I'll see you again soon.